It's Tuesday, February the 28th, 2023. You're listening to episode 5 of Wes and Shelley Shares Habits of Health. Set the scene for us, Shelley. Where are we?
Well, we are in our backyard. It is a beautiful evening. We have a chimney fire, and I think this is the first evening I've sat outside on our porch since we've moved here.
Yeah, so
seems crazy.
I've done this one other time, I think, but it was by myself. So it is 64 degrees. It was over 70 today, and we did not record this on Sunday or Monday nights because we were both pretty exhausted and lots of stuff to do for school. And in typical fashion, we, didn't record early, and we're really not doing that too early now. But it's 8:30, so that's not crazy late. So why did we call this episode Habits of Health? What are we going to talk about?
Tonight, or today, I guess, we're going to talk about kind of our health journey, where we have been, where we're going, and then just how it has shaped our life and given us our why for having adventures.
Okay, yeah. Kind of where we've been, where we are now, and where we want to go. And following in our pattern of picking books for our show titles, Habits of Health is a book by Dr. A, and we'll talk a little more about him. And then in the second half, we are going to talk about our Saturday adventure, which involved our church and going downtown and giving food and serving food to folks who are experiencing homelessness and having some experiences both with our church family and in kind of the big group, and then also kind of wandering off a little bit and having some other experiences with a new friend that we made. But I think Shelley kind of kept us safe. And I haven't published, Shelley and I both recorded a video, or parts of a video that I haven't published yet. And once I get that published, I'll add that as show notes. But anyway, that's the plan. And we're going to have a Wander link and a Wonder link as always.
There you go.
All right. So for people who don't know, Shelley, what is this thing about you helping people out with good health, and what is the Habits of Health book?
Well, a couple years ago, has it been almost a couple years? Maybe.
Probably.
Year and a half.
Mm-hmm. More than that.
Wes and I were doing well. I mean...
Define well.
I guess that's a good question. I don't know.
We were both overweight.
We were both overweight.
Yeah.
It had crept up on us.
We were both heavier than we'd ever been in our whole lives.
Exactly. And it had happened gradually over time. And I kept telling myself it was age. And I kept telling myself it was menopause. And I kept telling myself this is just what happens as you get older.
And I was telling myself, yeah, I'm over 50. My metabolism's done. I'm done. I'm just done. Here, hold this. I'm going to get some more wood. And keep talking.
So, I guess when I said I was happy, I wasn't dissatisfied. I knew I was heavy. I knew I had been in better shape in my life. But I watched a friend of mine. She was a second grade teacher in our building. And I watched her over time. And she lost over 100 pounds. And I think that was pretty incredible. And I watched her, it changed her whole demeanor, and the way she related to people. And so, okay, Wes is putting this ginormous piece of wood in our chimney. I think that's too big. No, I don't think that's a good idea. That's a little bit crazy. So anyway, I watched her lose over 100 pounds, and eventually I got brave enough to ask, what are you doing? And so she talked to me about how she had a health coach, and she was on a meal plan, and how she was losing, 2 to 3 pounds a week. And I thought, well, I can do that. But I was afraid. I was afraid of getting started while I was at school and teaching and everything else. So I decided to start this program during this summer. And so I contacted her coach, her health coach, and it turns out that I knew her. I knew her health coach, and I had known her through some theater activities that our daughters had done together. So, and that just started off on a journey. So I started on this meal plan, and it's easy. I mean, it's really simple. It's eating every 3 hours. They're simple fuelings, drinking.
Because basically our metabolism, even when we get older, our bodies can still produce, our metabolism can still be the tool of weight loss and health. Because you can't out-eat your fork.
You can't out-exercise your fork.
You cannot out-eat your fork. Your fork's going to eat so much. Wow. All right, I just blew that.
You did. That was bad. So anyway, so I started on this program, and then we went on vacation, but I kept up the program, and it really just made sense. It was not hard to follow. It was a simple program.
And we both have wanted to do things that were sustainable.
Well,
not something you just do for like a while and then you go off it.
We wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
And we wanted to sleep better. And we wanted to be active. And we wanted to go camping again. And we wanted to go hiking again. And we wanted to be active with our daughters and our son. And so it was gradual. It happened over time. I also lost about 2 to 3 pounds a week. Following the meal plan, and
how much did you lose?
I lost 50 pounds. So in the course, I was thinking about it today. Of about 6 months, I lost 50 pounds, and I felt so much better, and I had so much more energy, and I was thinner than I had been than maybe college, and not that thin is the goal.
Healthy
Thin
is
not
goal.
the goal, but I did feel better in my clothes, and I felt more of myself.
Well, more your clothes could fit. Now you've been wearing your daughter's clothes.
Yeah, now I can wear my daughter's clothes. But it gave me myself back. I had forgotten who I was, and I had forgotten myself. And when I was at my heaviest, I didn't recognize myself anymore. And now I feel like, and it's not, while I enjoy the way I look, and I enjoy going shopping for clothes, and I enjoy feeling cute again.
And for the record, you were always cute.
Well, thank you. But getting healthy and feeling good and knowing I'm going in the right direction to maintaining a healthy lifestyle for long term, that made sense to me.
So I saw Shelly do all this and was, I guess, somewhat of a help. I mean, I do the cooking. Like she said, we were on vacation to Wyoming and up to see our relatives in the 4th of July and cabin and all kinds of things, which I think was probably a pretty hard time hard time to do that.
Well, the program is simple, but it is hard to change your habits.
Yeah, which is why the book is called
Habits of Health.
Habits of Health, which also, for the record, I have not read any of, and that is something. In doing this, I thought, well, I need to open that up and start reading some of it, because that's been a major touch point for you, I think, as far as the science of all of this.
The psychology.
Which is huge. The bottom line is I'd started to do this when school started, and then by December I had lost 50 pounds. So we had both lost a combined 100 pounds. And I felt so much better. One of the things that was a milestone for me was I have a belt from Philmont Scout Ranch, which I got when I was... I don't know, maybe I got that... I think I got it when I was a ranger. So I was a Philmont Ranger from the academy, from the Air Force Academy in the summer of 1990, and then again after I graduated in 92 for 30 more days. And I think that's when it dates from then. And I was very skinny when I was at the academy, probably too skinny. But I got to the point where I couldn't wear that belt. And I know that when I was able to wear that belt again, you know, and then my rings, I had to get my academy ring and my wedding ring resized. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I was able to get them, you know, resized again, made smaller again. Thankfully, Jostens has a lifetime guarantee for their rings. But anyway, this has just been, it's an ongoing journey because it's not something that we've stopped.
It won't end because I want to continue eating healthy.
Right.
And I want to continue fueling my body, and I want to continue feeling better. So whereas it is not as restrictive as it used to be when we were in a weight loss phase, it is something that will be ongoing.
And it has to do with caloric intake. I mean, when you're doing this, you're actually, you know, reducing the total amount of calories that you take in, but you're eating so regularly that your body doesn't think that it has to store up fat, and then a lot of it has to do with water. I mean, it's incredible. Like, I think I've lived most of my life dehydrated.
Absolutely.
Literally. Mm-hmm. And so now, but it's also a struggle daily to do this, because even though you know it...
Well, it has to be a habit. And that's really what this is, habits of health.
Right.
It has to become a habit. It has to become something that you don't think about anymore.
Right.
You know, I never ate breakfast. I don't remember when I used to eat breakfast.
Love
and now
breakfast.
I have a fueling, and I eat. I eat something. I don't always.
You get your
eat
metabolism going,
but I get my metabolism going.
I
regularly drink my water. I still, and this is perfect for a school teacher. You know, it's really this lifestyle helps me stay regular in my eating and my self-care. Wes and I are to the point now where we eat healthy, but in the evenings we enjoy, you know, we used to eat lean and green, and now we enjoy.
Alcohol consumption has gone way, way down.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, alcohol is such a carbohydrate and sugar-filled beverage, and while... you know, it can be a comfort and it can become a habit. You know, that's been a part of the story and the journey as well. So,
well, and I really love what it has done for our girls, particularly. Alexander wasn't really home when we were doing. When we made some of these changes, but I do see where it has affected our daughters, and in a good way, because I think, especially for so many young people, it's so easy to get into body dysmorphia and maybe an focus on body image and not eat at all, or overeat, and hyper control over that, and none of those are healthy. And so we were able to have a lot of conversations about, you know, what are healthy portions, and but not in a weird way.
Cholesterol. I was over 200 on my cholesterol. Hopefully the insurance company's not listening to this, but I don't have that now. Yeah, I was, because, you know, I've given blood for quite a while, and anyway, when I was able to lose that weight, I went down to some of the lowest numbers that I've had. So
and I was pre-diabetic. I mean, I had gestational diabetes with all three of our children. It would get progressively worse. My father was diabetic, and that is something that, without control, it can be devastating on your health. And so I really appreciate losing the weight and then maintaining a good calorie balance. And that's been very helpful too.
Yeah.
So.
And for any of you that follow me on social media, I mean, I love to barbecue and smoke meat, and, you know, we eat a lot more salmon than we have before, but anyway, it's just a sustainable, I mean, and we've been in, quote, transition for quite a while. Okay, so we're coming up on half the show. Where do we go from here? What are we doing next? You and I have both gained some back, so I know I want to go into a fat burn time where I'm basically kind of doing the plan hardcore and lose. I'd like to lose 20 pounds again, because I think that's kind of what I've gained back. And people talk about a yo-yo, and that's happened, but there's a lot of reasons for that. Whatever, we can rationalize things, we can describe our lives. There's a lot of things that go on, but the bottom line is we have the tools and the knowledge now to take control over this and to do this in a sustainable way that where we really feel so much better. I mean, and we won't give too much information, but when you go off the plan, man, and when you eat poorly, again, I've lived most of my life dehydrated, and then most of my life just eating with abandon, which is kind of a dumb way to live. I love food. I love to eat good food. And we still have celebration dinners, but those are fewer and far between. And, I feel like we have the tools to be able to take charge of so you talk about taking charge of your learning, taking charge of our health.
Yeah, and I think that's so. Right now, I am in more stress management mode, and I think this year has been a really tough year of transition, and I know that managing my stress is important for my health, and so I'm really this year working on managing my stress, putting in the strategies that are going to help me along that line. I plan on this year optimizing and... Wes, quit. He's playing with fire. But getting into more of a exercise plan. I've worked on healthy movement, and I'm walking, and I enjoy that. It's good for my mindfulness. It's good for my overall mental health. But my goal this year, probably starting this summer when school's over, is getting back into more weight training, getting back into more physical activity, a planned physical activity. Wes and I are looking forward to camping again, and possibly even a backpacking trip, and I want to be ready for that. So,
okay, well, we've gone a little bit over half the time, so it's halftime. Let's hear a little advertisement. It might even be from Cook with Wes. This episode of Wes and Shelley Shares is brought to you by Cook with Wes. Cook with Wes is my, Wes Fryer's, personal passion project, sharing lots of food photos, a few recipe videos, lots of barbecue and smoked meat adventures, and many other recipes from my indoor and outdoor kitchens. You can find all our family recipes on food.wesfryer.com and follow Cook with Wes on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're on Mastodon, and really, why not? Since Twitter has become a bit of a dumpster fire, you can search for the hashtag CookWithWes to find my latest food shares there. Well, I did start a separate YouTube channel for Cook with Wes, but I've continued to post most of my cooking videos on YouTube on my main channel. You can access the complete playlist at wfryer.me/cook. Thanks for tuning in to Wes and Shelley Shares. I hope to see you on social media on one of the channels for Cook with Wes. All right, we're back for part 2, the adventure. What happened on Saturday morning?
we have joined a new church, Caldwell Presbyterian Church, and one of the reasons that we were really interested in this church is that they are starting a new program with they're transforming their educational center into affordable housing for people who are experiencing homelessness.
Apartment complex for 21 single adults, efficiency apartments. But they've been working on this for like 10 years.
Yeah,
so.
and it's going to be called Easter's Home. And so they were reading some books and doing some study and preparing for welcoming these 21 neighbors into our community, our faith community. Well, not even in our faith community.
They're going to be
they're
neighbors.
Going to be
some
neighbors.
Of them, some of them may some of them may choose to be a part of our church family, and others may just live there. But they're going to be our neighbors.
One of the nonprofits that they're working with is called Roof Above, and it has a day shelter. And so our church got together and we met down near Roof Above, and it was kind of a potluck breakfast. It's part of the educational program for this year. So there's a series of books, there's workshops, but each month we want to have an event, an active outreach service, especially one that can help us be in proximity to folks who are experiencing poverty, who are experiencing homelessness, and who we're trying to serve, we're trying to reach. There's over 3,000 adults. Well, I don't know if it's just adults, 3,000 people. And they just did an updated survey in the Charlotte area that are homeless every night. And so past Saturday was the first of those experiences, like Shelley was saying. So how did this what was the experience like for you? Describe what did you end up doing once we got out of the car and walked over to the tent where they were serving food? I immediately felt at home. I felt, I started talking to people, being friendly, developing, just talking.
Making connections. And inviting people
seeing
to come.
People,
yeah.
Encouraging people to eat. It's okay. Go grab yourself a breakfast sandwich. And how are you doing? And, immediately they want to talk. They want to share their story. Immediately, John, a man named John came up and he's kind of crying and he says, I want to share my story with you. I want to share my testimony. Would you listen to my story? I said, absolutely, I'll listen to your story. And so I just listened to him talk. I think so oftentimes people don't take the time to really see others and listen to others, and not everybody wanted to get into a deep conversation, but there were enough that they just craved somebody to see them and talk to them and recognize them and treat them as human beings. And so I felt really comfortable starting conversations and making connections.
I think it was really a smart thing to kind of do a potluck style breakfast like this. It was a little misty. The rain kind of held off, but we had a tent and some tables to set things up, so sort of a buffet line. I want to get a propane griddle and be able to make pancakes and maybe sausage and be able to serve, a hot breakfast. But of course it's good to grab and go. We just brought like oranges and apples. But you know what? There's all kinds of aspects to that. So as the food was kind of running low a little bit, one of our party, Jane, had seen some folks across or on the other side of the freeway, and so she wanted to go over there and give some people some food who were in cars. And what happened with that, and what counsel did you offer us? Because Shelley and I and Jane ended up walking over there, and we probably walked 4 or 5 blocks, and we ended up in front of what we think was the county lockup. We still need to confirm, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So what did you offer? Because you've had some experiences working around folks that are
well, number one, you have to be aware of your surroundings, and sometimes we're too brave for our own good. So I'm glad that there were 3 of us. But as I observed the cars and the comings and the goings and I knew that was not a safe situation to go walking up to a car and asking somebody if they wanted a breakfast sandwich. That was just not going to be a very smart thing to do.
We don't know all the things that are going on.
We don't. And it is mid-morning, and then as we got nearer to, you could tell people were coming out of this building, and some of them were pretty fired up, and again, anxious to talk, but there was an armed security guard standing there, and
he actually wanted us to bring more breakfast in because there were people who weren't able to go out.
Who had missed breakfast.
Yeah, who had missed breakfast and who couldn't get out.
So,
So
it worked out really well, but I think, it is, you need to be careful about where you go and what you're doing and be savvy of your environment, and going off on an adventure like that was probably not the wisest of things to do.
I certainly felt much more vulnerable like that away from our group because literally we have no idea what people's situations are. I think there were folks that had just spent the night maybe in the county jail and were coming out. I need to confirm that for sure. Maybe it's some kind of a mental health facility, but it was a lot safer feeling when we were with our church family, and then I think it was good to be set up with a tent and in an area where the word got out. Hey, if you want food,
Well, it was a set area. We didn't pick it at random. It was a place close to roof above. It worked out very well.
Yeah.
And part of the mission of this is to get people being in proximity. There are a lot of good people that do want to help, but sometimes it's hard to be so far out of your box. Mm-hmm. And I think my experience of working at Positive Tomorrows, which and working in urban situations
in Oklahoma City, a school for homeless
working
children,
with the City Rescue Mission.
Shelley worked for 4 years.
So I had some experience with that. I am not an expert by any means, but it does give you kind of a social inoculation, so get you used to being out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important because that's important for ministry.
And I think that your relational skills and your level of comfort just connecting with people, like you said, seeing people, that really came through. And that'll be something interesting to explore, is like the degree to which, people can cultivate that kind of skill and attitude. And, there are people in our Sunday school class who've expressed frustration at just not knowing what to say and what to ask. And, I don't know if there's a part for role play to, be used in that. But like you said, there's a lot of people that want to help. And I think, Presbyterians specifically maybe can be guilty and stereotyped sometimes as being willing to write a check. But, when it comes to really doing the work, that's harder, and it's messy. And as a result of all of this journey, we have some friendships, not just as a result of Saturday, but as a result of really, time spent in our Sunday school class and church since January.
Well, and that was what was wonderful too. We were able to meet two of the women from our Sunday school class and go and have breakfast and further our conversation and get to know them better. Afterwards. And both of them are recent widows, and so it was just really wonderful to spend time with them. And Wes had just recently lost his mother, and so there's still a lot of grieving, but there's bonding in that. And so that was really nice too. Absolutely. Because I think this is part of what, and hopefully if our daughters are listening, whoever's listening, when people say that we're called to seek the church and find the church, I mean, this is an example of it. It is wonderful to serve together and to be involved in local outreach and ministry. But, it's also important to fellowship and to find time to connect. There is a special sort of magic to breaking bread with people. Mm-hmm. When you sit down and have a meal, whether that's at your house or, at a restaurant. Or in the middle of the street.
Or in the street, that's right. And something I think would be cool, too, is when we're eating together, when we had the Rolling Green Ministry back at First Pres in Edmond. We had the hot dog suppers and everyone ate together. We all ate the hot dog suppers. This on Saturday was a little more of here's the food, and it was a grab and go kind of thing. But it'd be interesting to do more of like a pancake breakfast or something. And I don't know, where where maybe you'll sit down and people can, if they want to, we probably need to have to-go boxes and things like that. But I don't know. It was definitely an adventure, and we were definitely stretched. And I feel like we've kind of jumped on a train with respect to the church because, a big part of the reason, like Shelley said, that we joined was this Easter's House mission and the way in which our church, Caldwell Presbyterian, is really, really serious and active and has been for years. I mean, we're getting in on, year 11 or year 10 or something of this initiative to reach out and provide affordable housing in the community. But, I think that both of us have different skills, and hopefully those skills will be able to be used positively, to help do this work and, to help further God's kingdom on earth. I mean, that sounds big, but
that's right.
That is what it is.
Okay.
So, and amidst all the different news and ways that we can be overwhelmed, I think it feels really good to just be part of a community that's, striving to love people, to love each other, and to love people. God's love is for everyone. There's no exceptions for that. So that's our story, and we're sticking to it.
There you go.
Okay, so Wonderlink. What do you want to do first?
All right. Well, I have the most cool Wonderlink. So I found the other day, and constantly seeking something for my students to captivate them and maybe help them learn to use a little self-control in the classroom. But during our handwriting time, a lot of times I would have music, but that just tends to get them a little wound up. So I wanted some ambient sound. So I was looking for something on YouTube, and I found a live eagle cam. And it's in, Big Bear?
It's in Big Bear, California.
Which is in Northern California, which is getting a lot of snow, by the way. But it's a live eagle cam, and it's been up since 2017.
It's 145 feet up in the air.
Oh, and I found another camera that looks at the same place, but it's from a different perspective.
Really?
Yeah, not near as well. So it is 2 eagles. It is Jackie and Shadow. And they have 2 eggs that they are sitting on. And it's amazing. I'll just turn that on and you hear the wind and watch the eagles. And I watched it all weekend, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. But it is fascinating. At one point, one of them flew off and came back with a fish and is eating a fish there. And I think another one had a rabbit.
And your kids saw that happen live with the fish.
Oh, yeah, they saw that happen live. And so a couple of them said over the weekend they showed it to their parents, and they were keeping an eye on the eagle cam. And so anyway, it's a little bit addictive. But I just love watching this live because you never know what's going to happen. And right now there's just, the whole nest is covered in snow except for this one part where, and they take turns. They take turns sitting on the eggs.
But at night, on Friday night, when that snow was so heavy, the entire nest was covered.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't even...
And the bird, too.
You couldn't even see the bird. And then, it would wake up and shake. And you're like, okay, they're there. They're okay.
So, yeah. But anyway, so it's just been really fun. It's just something different. It's kind of like at the zoo when they provide, enrichment activities for the animals. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I like throwing something in there that's just enriching.
So we'll include that link in the show notes along with the other things we've referenced. I don't remember what our wander link was. Do you?
Well, I think wandering into Uptown Charlotte, that was definitely a little different.
It was, but let me see. I don't know if I can flip back to this. Nope, I just wrote Wanderlink and I wrote nothing.
But another place I want to wander, and this kind of goes back to the animal theme, I discovered their zoo, North Carolina. It was
it's a Netflix special, isn't it? Or
I think it's Disney.
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. And so I love to watch animal shows and zoo shows. And so anyway, I found Zoo, North Carolina. And
it's only about an hour or something away from us.
So I want to wander over to the zoo because I do love animals and I love zoos. So
okay, so we'll include a link to that Disney Plus show, North Carolina Zoo, which was there only one episode, one season, or yeah, and then we'll include a link to it for real because it's someplace that is now on our bucket list.
It's our wander lake,
to
which
wander
is
to.
beautiful. We did wander off to the dog park today.
Yep, we did. The dogs hadn't been there for months, and
Moose is eating something in
they
the yard.
loved it.
Moose, quit eating something.
At least they're not rolling around in the dirt like bison taking a dirt bath, because sadly they do that sometimes. All right. So if you would like to connect with us, you can go to shelleyfryer.com/podcast, where we've got links that you can use to follow us and connect with us on social media. And do you remember what we want to encourage people to do at the end, Shelley? We should probably write it down.
Stay curious and have adventures.
Pretty close, yes. That works, actually. Stay curious, go outside, and keep exploring.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Wes and Shelley Share is a weekly podcast recorded and published on Sundays by Wesley and Shelley Fryer of Matthews, North Carolina. Learn more and find links to connect on social media to Wes and Shelley by visiting shelleyfryer.com/podcast. Content on this podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Only 3.0 license. The Wes and Shelley Share podcast is recorded and published with Anchor and distributed on all major podcast channels, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and more. Please share our show on social media and tell others about us. Let us know on Facebook or via other means what you like about the show, that you're listening, and if you have any suggestions for future episodes. Stay curious, go outside, and keep exploring.